You see, there's one boundary, just one, that separates the women who are chased for a moment from those who are cherished for a lifetime. It's the boundary of self-priority. It's the invisible line that says, I love you, but I will never abandon myself to keep you. When a man meets a woman who holds this kind of boundary, something inside him wakes up. Suddenly, she's not just another person to win over, she's a woman to earn. Her presence becomes a privilege, not a guarantee. Because here's the truth: people value what they must rise to meet. When you give your energy too freely, when you bend your standards for crumbs of attention, you teach someone that your worth is negotiable. And once your worth feels negotiable, the chase ends. But when you hold your boundary, when you say, I will not shrink to fit into your comfort zone, you create a magnetic tension. You make a man feel that being close to you requires growth. He has to become someone capable of holding the kind of woman who knows her own value. That boundary isn't cold. It isn't a wall. It's a divine filter, one that separates those who are curious from those who are committed. And here's the beautiful paradox: the moment you stop chasing, everything you want starts to chase you. Because men, real men, are not chasing the woman who says yes to everything. They're chasing the woman whose yes means something. The woman who knows that love isn't about losing yourself, but finding someone who celebrates the self you refuse to lose. So draw the line. Not from fear, but from power. Not from arrogance, but from deep self-respect. Let that boundary become your compass. Let it remind you that being chosen means nothing if you had to betray yourself to be picked. You are not here to be pursued endlessly. You are here to be honored continuously. And the woman who honors herself first, she's the one who never has to chase again. The most powerful boundary you will ever set is the one that declares, F my time, my energy, and my heart are valuable. This boundary isn't about arrogance or playing hard to get. It's about deep self-prioritization. It's about living from a place where your sense of worth does not fluctuate with how much attention someone gives you. When you hold this boundary, you send a quiet but undeniable message to the world. I am not available for anything that costs me my peace or my purpose. For so many people lose their power because they confuse giving with proving. They pour out love hoping it will be reciprocated. They stretch themselves thin trying to be enough, and in the process, they start to disappear. But when you prioritize yourself, you reverse that flow. You no longer give to be seen, you give because you are already full. You don't bend to be loved, you love from a place of strength. When a man meets a woman who lives like this, he can feel it. It's not something she says, it's something in her energy. She's warm, but she's not waiting. She's kind, but she's not chasing. She knows how to show care without surrendering her center. Her life doesn't revolve around being chosen. It revolves around becoming the fullest expression of who she is. That's what makes her irresistible. Men are drawn to women who radiate purpose because that energy signals emotional security. A woman who values herself doesn't get swept up by the temporary highs of attention. She knows that consistency matters more than charm, and that actions reveal more than words. Her boundary tells him, Des, if you want to be part of my world, you have to add to it, not drain it. This silently calls a man to rise, to bring his best self forward, to meet her on her level rather than pulling her down to his. This boundary also redefines what giving looks like in love. When you prioritize yourself, you stop overextending. You stop saying yes when your heart means no. You stop confusing effort with worthiness. You begin to understand that you can still be deeply feminine, nurturing, and loving without losing your balance. Because real love doesn't require self-abandonment, it requires presence. And presence can only exist when you're not depleted. To live this boundary, you must get comfortable with being misunderstood. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will call you distant or too much. But that discomfort is sacred. It's the sign that you are evolving. You are no longer running after validation. You're standing in self-respect. And when you do that, you begin to attract relationships that reflect your new energy. You stop attracting people who test your limits and start attracting those who treasure them. Self-priority also means not filling your schedule with anyone who doesn't align with your peace. It means valuing solitude not as loneliness, but as sacred space to recharge and realign. When you take care of yourself first, your energy becomes magnetic. You show up radiant, grounded, and self-assured. People feel that calm confidence. It's the quiet certainty that says, I know who I am, and I don't need to chase what's meant for me. Bliss. This kind of boundary transforms how a man perceives you. It shifts you from being an option to being a standard. It creates polarity, the healthy kind that keeps attraction alive, because he feels that if he wants access to your time, it must be earned through consistency and care. You're not punishing him for wanting you, you're inspiring him to show up as a better version of himself. And here's the divine truth behind this boundary. It's not about control, it's about alignment. When you prioritize yourself, you align with your highest worth. You send a signal to the universe and to everyone around you that you will not participate in anything that dims your light. You don't need to demand respect. You embody it. You don't need to chase love. You become the kind of person love naturally gravitates toward. This is the quiet power of a woman who knows her value. Her presence speaks louder than her words. Her boundaries aren't barriers, they are invitations for the right people to step up and for the wrong ones to step aside. There is a rare kind of power in being emotionally open while still having clear standards. It's the balance between being receptive and being selective. Too often, people think that to attract love, they must either guard their heart completely or give it away too soon. But real magnetism lies in the middle ground, where your heart is open enough to connect deeply, yet your standards are strong enough to protect your peace. Being emotionally available means allowing yourself to be seen, to care, to engage authentically. It's showing warmth without fear. But having standards means that your emotional generosity has a purpose. It's not poured into anyone who simply shows interest. You choose who gets to experience your softness. You don't close your heart, you curate access to it. This is what creates the irresistible tension between availability and mystery, connection and challenge. When a woman knows her worth, she doesn't play emotional games. She doesn't pretend to be distant or indifferent. Her openness is real, but it's not reckless. She listens, she engages, she laughs, she feels. Yet she never allows those moments to blind her to what she deserves. Her emotions are authentic, but they are guided by discernment. She can express care without collapsing into attachment. She can be vulnerable without giving up her power. This is the energy that makes a man lean in, because men are drawn to emotional honesty, but only when it's paired with boundaries. When a woman gives freely without standards, her emotions lose their weight. But when she gives selectively, every smile, every glance, every word carries meaning. It tells him, I don't open this easily, but you've earned a piece of my truth. That kind of access feels sacred, and sacred things are valued. Standards act as the frame for emotional availability. Without them, emotion spills everywhere uncontrolled and often unreciprocated. With them, emotion becomes powerful, directed, intentional, and dignified. You stop trying to convince someone to choose you because your energy says, if it's not mutual, it's not for me, Blight. That inner posture commands respect. It tells a man that your love is not a prize to be won through charm, it's an experience to be earned through character. Being emotionally available with standards also changes how you respond to uncertainty. Instead of anxiously chasing clarity, you observe. You pay attention to effort, not excuses. You allow time to reveal consistency. You don't give more because you're afraid of losing him. You give enough to stay true to yourself, and if he doesn't match it, you gracefully step back. That quiet confidence is what keeps a man chasing because it shows him that your attention is precious and never desperate. True feminine strength is not in withholding emotion, but in mastering it. It's being able to say, I care about you, but I care about myself too. It's the ability to be loving and firm, gentle yet grounded. This kind of woman doesn't build walls. She builds doors that only open for those who knock with respect. When she feels disrespected, she doesn't argue, she withdraws. Her silence becomes her boundary. Her absence becomes her message. The deeper beauty of this principle is that it's not manipulation, it's alignment with self-worth. When you have emotional availability with standards, you're not playing games to appear high value. You're simply embodying high value. You're living as someone who knows that love should add peace, not chaos. You're not asking for perfection, you're asking for presence, consistency, and emotional responsibility. Men find that energy magnetic because it awakens their protector instinct. It calls them to show up with clarity, not confusion. When a man meets a woman who's emotionally open, but not emotionally reckless, he senses that she is safe yet challenging. She doesn't need him, but she chooses him. That difference changes everything. Because when a man feels chosen, not needed, he rises. He invests. He chases, not out of ego, but out of admiration. This delicate balance of heart and standard is what keeps attraction alive. It creates an emotional rhythm that is both inviting and inspiring. You are soft enough to be approachable, but strong enough to be respected. You can love deeply, but you never lose yourself in the process. That balance makes you unforgettable because your heart becomes a place of peace, not pressure. And that's the kind of energy that no man ever forgets. There is a sacred elegance in the art of mystery and self-containment. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you don't need to announce your worth. You embody it. In a world where oversharing and overgiving have become the norm, mystery has become magnetic. The woman who doesn't rush to fill every silence, who doesn't reveal every thought, and who doesn't give her energy away too soon creates an irresistible pull. She moves through life with the kind of composure that makes people lean in wondering, who is she and what makes her so centered? Self-containment isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being whole within yourself. It's about not seeking constant reassurance or validation from others. You can share yourself without spilling yourself. You can be open without being emptied. When you master this energy, you communicate through presence rather than persuasion. You don't have to convince anyone of your value because it's felt in the way you carry yourself. The power of mystery comes from emotional discipline. When you can hold your emotions with grace instead of reacting to every trigger, you show a depth that commands respect. Most people rush to be understood. They explain, defend, and justify. But when you learn to stay composed and let time reveal the truth, you show inner strength. You become someone who cannot be easily shaken. This kind of poise is deeply attractive because it signals maturity and self-trust. When a man meets a woman who has this level of self-containment, she intrigues him. Not because she's playing games, but because she's grounded. Her silence isn't manipulation, it's wisdom. She knows that not every emotion deserves an audience. And not every question deserves an answer. Her mystery gives space for imagination, and that space is where desire grows. Because attraction thrives in uncertainty, in the slow unfolding of discovery. Oversharing, on the other hand, often comes from fear. The fear of losing someone's interest, the fear of not being seen, the fear of being misunderstood. But true connection doesn't require you to reveal everything instantly. It requires authenticity over time. When you pace your emotional expression, you allow trust and curiosity to build naturally. You give a man the chance to invest effort in understanding you, and in that effort, attachment deepens. Self-containment also means being emotionally independent. It's knowing that your happiness isn't dependent on someone's approval or attention. You can enjoy connection without being consumed by it. You can love fully without losing your center. This energy communicates, I am fulfilled on my own, and any relationship I enter is an addition, not a lifeline. That kind of confidence creates emotional safety for both people. It makes the connection feel stable, not suffocating. Mystery doesn't mean withholding affection or playing aloof. It's about revealing yourself in layers. It's knowing when to share and when to let silence speak for you. It's understanding that part of your allure lies in the unknown. The part of you that's still unfolding, still discovering, still becoming. When a man senses that your world doesn't revolve around him, that you have passions, goals, and a rich inner life, he feels both respect and fascination. This kind of energy is divine because it mirrors the natural rhythm of attraction. The sun doesn't chase the moon, it shines, and the world turns toward its light. The woman who lives with mystery and self-containment shines in this same way. She doesn't demand attention, she commands it through her presence. Her calm, her focus, her purpose, they all whisper something powerful. I am enough as I am. When you embody this principle, you stop over-explaining yourself to be understood. You stop rushing connection out of fear of missing out. Instead, you move with intention. You know that your energy is precious and not everyone deserves access to it. That awareness shifts everything. You start to attract people who are genuinely curious, not just momentarily captivated. And when a man sees that your emotions, time, and vulnerability must be earned, he steps up. Because mystery challenges him to pursue, to invest, to discover the woman behind the calm confidence. The power of mystery and self-containment is not in withholding love, it's in holding yourself. It's the understanding that your value is not measured by how much you give, but by how true you remain to yourself while giving. It's a balance of warmth and restraint, openness and discretion. And when you master that balance, you no longer have to chase connection. Connection chases you. Consistency in boundaries is where true self-worth reveals itself. Anyone can set a boundary once, especially when they feel strong, confident, or inspired. But it's when emotions get involved, when attraction deepens, when loneliness whispers, when the fear of loss creeps in, that boundaries are truly tested. Consistency is the bridge between knowing your worth and living it. It's the steady commitment to yourself that says, my standards don't change based on who stands in front of me, bars. When you maintain consistency in your boundaries, you build trust, not only with others, but with yourself. You start to feel safe within your own choices because you know you won't abandon your truth for temporary comfort. People feel that kind of integrity. It radiates through your energy. A man may not consciously recognize it at first, but he will feel it. Your steadiness, your self-respect, your quiet refusal to be swayed by charm or pressure. That consistency becomes magnetic because it's rare in a world where people constantly compromise themselves for connection. A boundary is only powerful when it's honored repeatedly. You can tell someone what you expect, but it's your follow-through that teaches them how to treat you. The moment you allow behavior that violates your standards, you communicate that your words are flexible. But when your actions match your intentions, you command respect without ever having to demand it. You don't need to raise your voice, explain yourself endlessly, or threaten to walk away. You simply live in alignment with your values, and the energy of that alignment speaks louder than any words could. Consistency is also a reflection of emotional maturity. It means you can feel deeply without letting your feelings dictate your decisions. It's easy to say, Fife, I won't tolerate inconsistency, until you start to fall for someone who gives you mixed signals. It's easy to promise, I won't chase, until the silence feels unbearable. But consistency means you hold your standard even when it hurts. It's not about pride, it's about peace. It's about knowing that compromising your boundaries for a moment of relief always leads to deeper pain later. When a man encounters a woman who is consistent in her boundaries, something shifts inside him. He realizes she's not playing a role, she is the role. Her integrity isn't situational, it's her nature. She doesn't threaten to leave when disrespected. She simply removes herself and keeps walking. She doesn't explain her worth. She demonstrates it through how she shows up, how she responds, and how she protects her energy. That level of consistency builds both admiration and security. It tells him that her love, while warm, will never come at the cost of her self-respect. People chase what they trust, and trust is born from consistency. When you're unpredictable, when your boundaries change depending on your emotions, you create confusion. But when your energy is steady, when you mean what you say and say what you mean, you become a safe and inspiring force. You teach others that your love is not conditional, but your access is. That's a crucial difference. You can care deeply for someone, but if they violate your boundaries, they lose the privilege of closeness. Consistency also refines who stays in your life. It acts as a filter. Those who are genuine will adjust to meet your standards. Those who are not will fall away. Either way, you win because your consistency keeps your circle aligned with your peace. It prevents chaos from entering and teaches others that your heart is not a playground for inconsistency. It's important to remember that consistency is not rigidity. It doesn't mean you can't evolve or forgive. It means that even as you grow, you do not lower your standards, you elevate them to match your evolution. You learn to distinguish between compassion and compromise. You can empathize with someone's struggles without allowing their behavior to cross your boundaries. This kind of steadiness is what creates lasting attraction. A man can sense when a woman's energy is not up for negotiation. It makes him feel both challenged and safe. Challenged because he must rise to meet her, and safe because he knows who she is will not change tomorrow. That predictability is powerful, it anchors him. Consistency in your boundaries doesn't just make a man chase you, it makes him trust you, respect you, and ultimately value you beyond fleeting attraction. Because the truth is, beauty may catch a man's eye, but consistency keeps his heart.